and we have exchanged views. We talked about the way forward. Secretary General has witnessed himself what has happened in Crans-Montana. He is aware of our constructive contribution in the conference, and as Turkish Cypriots, we very much expect that what truly happened will be reflected objectively in his upcoming report. It is obvious that the upcoming period before the Greek Cypriot elections is not conducive for a new attempt, and this assessment does not necessarily come from me. It comes from the Greek Cypriot side. Mr. Kassoulidis and Mr. Averov are on record saying this, and I do not disagree with them. I believe that the Greek Cypriot leader at this moment cannot take serious decisions in this period of time. Therefore, during this period, United Nations and both sides in Cyprus should try to determine why processes and methodologies so far did not bring about a settlement in Cyprus, and what can be done differently. Negotiations cannot continue as an open-ended process. Result-oriented, time-bound, and well-structured processes are needed. In the meantime, I also believe that the confidence-building measures can play an important role during this period of time. As you will recall, at the beginning of our process back in May 2015, we decided together with Mr. Anastasiadis on several confidence-building measures, including mobile phones to be operable on both sides, and to have the electricity interconnections, and other items as well, committees such as on education, on culture, on gender equality, and so on, I believe should not stop their work. We also conveyed the message to the Secretary General that we want finally to see an end to the unwarranted isolation of the Turkish Cypriots. Also, we have conveyed to him the need for his personal involvement in the way ahead. And needless to say, we thanked him and to his teams here and in Cyprus for their invaluable contribution to the Cyprus negotiation process, especially in Crans-Montana. Thank you.
Side is ready to accept the political equality of Turkish Cypriots, and also Mr. Anastasiadis, I think, told the Secretary General that they were ready to start the negotiations. What you are telling is just the opposite. Can you please explain more about this issue, about the upcoming elections, how it will affect?
Well, let me be very clear on both of the issues. The one I have already mentioned, that the time is not conducive for a new attempt, and I don't expect that the UN will take any steps in order to reactivate the negotiations in this period of time, simply because the atmosphere is not conducive. we need to wait until after the elections, which is due early next year. And secondly, I have repeatedly said that what the main problem seems to be regarding the unsuccessful conclusion of all the attempts so far. It's not only Crans-Montana, but what prevented, in essence, the agreement back in 2004 that such a big majority of the Greek Cypriots voted against the Annan plan. I sincerely believe that the majority of the Greek Cypriot community was not, and unfortunately it seems that is not ready for a politically equal new state of affairs. It seems that since the last 50 years to govern a state which is recognized by the international community and to govern that state as a single community created a kind of a situation where does not allow to share power with the other community, which is my community. But unless we agree on this power sharing, unless we digest the idea that there is going to be two politically equal entities, two politically equal constituent states, and unless there is going to be a digestion of the idea that one day a Turkish Cypriot also will become the president of the United Cyprus, then we will not be able to move ahead. But let us see what is going to happen after the elections, and during this time let us continue to reflect, and let us try to find ways and means to move forward, because when a problem exists, you cannot overlook, you cannot blind yourself, you cannot close your eyes, you cannot pretend and try not to see that problem. Cyprus problem exists, it's there, and therefore we need to find ways and means how to solve it. As long as the problem continues, the quest for trying to find ways and means for a solution will also continue. But how, when, with what methodology, with what mentality, these are the important issues that we need to tackle from now on. Because the way that it has been conducted and the way that we witness the mentalities did not produce anything. We are talking about 50 years of negotiation. It started back in 1968 in Beirut between Denktash and Cleridis. 49 years, half a century. So there is no need to repeat the same old methodologies.
Akıncı, after Crans-Montana and after being here all these days, do you still believe that a communal, bizonal federation is the solution?
Well, this is, of course, a serious question. We need to face that the more the time passes, the less the chances for a federal solution, because the positions becomes more entrenched. I am on record saying that this is going to be a last trial of our generation, because we are about the same age with Mr. Anastasiadis, and it is because of this understanding of mine, and I think too many people share this view, that the more the time passes, the positions becomes, and the status quo becomes more entrenched. it becomes more consolidated, and it is hard. Okay, I have to tell you that it is not any easier today from 2004 to achieve a solution. 10 years from now, maybe it is going to be impossible. But having said this, I don't want to condemn the UN parameters and the parameters of bizonal bicommunal federation. In my view, it is not the UN parameters that created these problems, but it is, unfortunately, in my view, after so many years, I came to this point to believe that it is the understandings of the Greek Cypriot leadership and the majority of the society that doesn't allow us to share power within the framework of a bizonal bicommunal federation. This is how I see it.
Sir, I ask you, are you ready to accept the withdrawal of the Turkish troops and the end of the guarantees by Turkey? This is one question. The second question, you are asking for equality, and I think you are right to ask for equality. Why you don't ask for equality for the Kurds in Turkey? They are 25%, and you are in Cyprus, you are only 18%.
Well, each country has its own positions. Each country has its own difficulties. I want to see all the communities, all the peoples, and all the individuals to live in peace and harmony, be it in Turkey or elsewhere. Turkey is a unitary state, but Cyprus was not formed as a unitary state, and the Turkish Cypriots minority within that Greek Cypriot majority. No. Cyprus was a functional federation when it was established in 1960, and for many years we have been discussing how to make it bizonal bicommunal federation, a new status to be created. So you cannot create parallels between Turkey and Cyprus on this very important issue. Regarding the troops, I believe we as the Turkish Cypriots as well as Turkish government made important openings during the Crans-Montana meetings, and this has been acknowledged by all the interested parties that participated during this conference. They all saw the sincere intentions of the Turkish side that they really meant business during that conference. As a general rule, I said that in Cyprus, one side's security should not be perceived as a threat for the other. And this became a part of the declaration on 12th January when we met for the conference in Geneva. I have repeatedly said one more thing, and I repeat it now. You cannot achieve solutions all of a sudden. You cannot create the conditions of security acceptable to both sides overnight. You have to go step by step. And in that sense, I have said that, I am repeating. The more confidence you build, the less soldiers you will require. The more cooperation you create, the less guarantees you will need. This is the equation.
So
Okay.
now you accepted, if I understand well, now you accepted the end of the guarantees and the withdrawal of the Turkish troops.
In Crans-Montana, what we accepted is known by the UN and is known by everybody, and it has been repeatedly declared by our side. Nothing more and nothing less. It is all known. We accepted a gradual reduction, a significant gradual reduction of troops, yes. But we didn't accept, like what Mr. Anastasiadis has been demanding all the time, a maximalist position which suggests 0 soldiers, 0 guarantees from day one. No, we didn't accept that.
What will happen to the hydrocarbon issue? Will the explorations go on from the...
Hydrocarbon issue is something which needs to be an area of cooperation. Like I said a minute ago, the more cooperation you have, the less guarantee or less soldiers you need, I said. Not only hydrocarbon issues, but there are a lot of other areas where you can create cooperation. But hydrocarbon issue is something where it belongs to both communities, and we sincerely believe that unilateral actions in that field is not helpful. Therefore, it has to be taken into consideration in such a way that instead of creating tensions, it should generate cooperation. Thank you.